Hi everyone, it is Marie here from Skeins on this lovely, lovely Monday afternoon, and I thought I would come and catch up because we have new yarn. So excited. Those who follow the Instagram account may have noticed I popped some teasers up on this a month or so ago as it was coming through the mill. One of the things we've done this season is, you may have noticed all the recycled yarns we've done, and we've been playing around with a whole bunch of new and old and sort of whatever techniques to bring you sort of new interesting yarns, but also bring you yarns that reflect the season or reflect what's out there. And McEwan and McKay, as these two have been called, are certainly two yarns that have done that. And what they are is they're yarns that have been made in exactly the same style as our Chatswood, and there is some recycled wool content in there. It's 100% wool, grown in New Zealand, spun right here. And what we've gone and done is we've added some black dyed content back to it. And it has gone and, when you spin a yarn like that, it's a very, very dark yarn, and you place the colour over the top, you get these wonderful broody colours. Now I'm going to sort of see, there we go, look at that. And I have just done this little swatch up, which I popped on the Instagram earlier on, and here they are here. So McKay and McEwan, and these are wonderful, lovely, very, very squishable, 100% wool, and this is a stronger style wool. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this in a little bit later on. Now, I just wanted to show you that this is actually the same construction, there we go, as our Chatswood. And have I got any Chatswood handy? No, that's okay. It's the same construction as our Chatswood, same count as our Chatswood. So if you've got Chatswood in your stash, and I know that the oodles of you had Chatswood in your stash, or if you've got any of the Skeins original in the wisp to Pania, Malbec or Brass that was available a little while ago as well, this yarn will go with them beautifully, because the beautiful thing is that these are very, very dark and deep, and they create that really lovely rich contrast. So if you're wanting to do some colour work or some blanket work or some striping, these are great yarns to add to it. And they're really lovely and squishy, really, now not super soft, but very, very squishy, and that's because of the strong wool content that's in here. And the beautiful thing about that, and I mean, you can't really see it because this is the world's smallest swatch, but I just did some textured stitching, is that the stitches, you know, are nice and textured, but also see there's a nice boing with that fabric. And it just, that means that when you're going to knit it into a garment, it will actually hold its structure and its shape very, very well. And it will work incredibly well. To me, this has got Guernsey, Gansey and Aran knit written all over it, because it will hold its shape and construction very well. Also really good for if you're wanting to do a larger project for yourself and you're wanting something that is rustic outerwear. So whether you've got kids who are out and about and you want something to whip up for them that's warm and tough, and it's not going to pill, and it's not going to stretch out of stitch shape, and if they snag it on something, it's not going to tear the minute it gets near anything hooky or sharp, and it's going to be quite roughy tufty. This McEwan and McKay, it will be fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I've actually even printed off a couple of patterns that I just dug out, just sort of thinking, well, what would you want to do in it? Now, if you're going to do stuff with kids in it, I mean, anything that is outerwear, because it is an outerwear yarn, would be fantastic. So brilliant for Milos, brilliant for any of those sort of vest hoodlums. There's all those things that we will love to knit for our kids, particularly toddlers up. The minute they start moving, having those beautiful, really lovely soft merinos just does not become practical at all. In fact, I'll tell you a story. No, I'll tell you a story. I had an American yarn, very well known tweed yarn, which is absolutely beautiful. And to this day, I still adore every single colour in the range, and it is lovely. Beautiful to look at, stunning effect. And I bought some of this yarn and I was determined to knit something with it. So I knit a vest for my youngest son and it looked amazing, and he wore it the first day. He was about 4 and he thought he was just fabulous. And every time he wore that vest, I had to repair it, because it was a woolen spun yarn, and the minute he ran past something and hooked it, it got a hole, or it tore, or I had to, it just got to the point where I got so sick of patching it that I thought, I'm never going to knit another child's garment in this again, which was hopeless, because he looked absolutely amazing in it. So this yarn would be just utterly brilliant. Husbands or partners or brothers who are out in the elements and need something warm, honestly, this stuff will be ideal. So anywho, I just did a quick little web search, and I actually came across a knitting magazine that was a free download. It had a men's pattern that was in there that just, it was designed, I think it was by Pat Mancini, and it's just a brilliant crossover, very attractive men's pattern. And I'll actually pop, I didn't print out a picture, but I will pop the link up for that, because it's the entire magazine that you download, and in there was about 4 things that would look great in this yarn, so I will put that link up. But I just threw a couple of others up just to show you the sorts of things that you should look for when, particularly with yarns like this. And I mentioned outerwear before, and I had a trawl back and came across this one from Jared Flood, and this is a really early Jared Flood pattern. This is not one of his recent ones. It's called Red Hook. There it is, a vest. Now those sorts of vests, I have to admit, for our climate here in New Zealand, is incredibly practical, because we layer up here. We don't have the really intense cold that they have in the Northern Hemisphere. So something like that, which you could pop a merino under, is eminently practical. Now that pattern is available in Ravelry on a site. Again, I'll pop the link in the comments. The yarn he's used in this has been discontinued. It's now no longer available, but the tension, the gauge, the needles, everything that's in there is absolutely perfect for this. Or Chatswood, or that Skeins original that you had sitting in your stash. And I just took one look at that and thought, well, actually, that's an incredibly practical pattern to have in the arsenal. The other one I came across as well, because to me this sort of is quite classical and speaks sort of cables and textured stitches, was an interweave one by Uni Yang, and called Tangled Yoke, which I thought that was very, very pretty if you like a fitted cardigan. That's again on Ravelry. And with my little friend, oopsie, Alana Dacos, because a lot of her bits and pieces have lovely textured stitches, and she had one in here. I'm just going to jump to it. I should have done this before. There we go. And this one here, Twigs and Willows. Look at that. And this one is in the original Botanical Knits book. And this Twigs and Willows, I've got a full page, there it is. That again, I think would look fantastic in that. A little bit of detailing, really lovely shaping, and it would work really well. Actually, the other one that would work quite well is that Autumn's End. Look at that. Because I know a few of you have bought this book since we've been talking about it with Hatitude. So, you know, that's the thing, maximising what the patterns that you already have at your disposal. It's quite an important thing to do. So the best thing about this yarn, other than the fact that it's going to go with all the Chatswood you have in your stash and all the Skeins original you have in your stash, and even actually if you're a lover of Tekapo. If you're a lover of Tekapo, we manufacture Tekapo here at the mill, so we sell the 3-ply and the 12-ply. A fabulous line. This will go brilliant with Tekapo, especially if you've got the natural shades and you're wanting to do some colour work or have this as a contrast. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. $3.50 a ball. Sat down with the crew today and we looked at the pricing on it, and because it is experimental and there is a recycled content in there, and you know, to be honest with you, we could mucked around and started with a higher price and waited for the sale, the Knit August Nights event that we always do in August, and we just thought, really, why bother? Let's just put it all out there and allow you to get it straight away at an amazing price. So that is what we have done. Again, I'll whack the link on where you can find it. It is, I think I've got it sitting in the sales page to make it nice and easy to find. And that's a DK. It is also going to be coming out in a 12 ply as well. So we've done a 3-fold 12 ply. That's coming. It's sitting in caking at the minute, and that's going to be coming out in that nice big Southlander barrel ball that we do. So that will be brilliant for all of those people who've got big chunky 12 ply bulky Aran knits sitting in their queues. The nice thing about those big barrel balls is that you can get, you know, loads of meterage and get those projects all sorted out. So $3.50 a ball. So you definitely need to get some of this to keep your Chatswood and all the rest of it company in your stash, because it'll get lonely otherwise. So definitely do that. So that is McEwan and McKay. Now, Hatitude. We nearly finished Hatitude. What are we now? The 25th. So we've got another 5 or so days, and I'll wind Hatitude up this time next week. And we'll move on to our next topic, which I'll tell you about at the end of the podcast. I was really hoping that I could show you my pressed leaves completed. I'm nearly there. With any luck, actually, I might get it finished tonight. I had a good crack at it on the weekend. I'll show you the progress where I'm at so far, which is, as you can see, it's doubled. Can you see that with the leaves? Oh, now see, look at this. Isn't that funny? That looks so much better on the screen than it, for me, it does in real life, because obviously it hasn't been blocked yet. Now, this is in the Albertine and the Bearberry, which is a colour I just love. As you can see, I'm a little bit fond of red tones. And I'm going to be utterly, utterly honest with you. On Saturday morning, there was a lot of expletives going on. I nearly threw it in the fire, and seriously, I completely lost my shit with it. Totally. Really got quite crabby with it. There's this, it's in this little portion here of the thing. It is a little bit fiddly. It's not as easy to remember as the ivy trellis one was, and I have to admit I'm a lazy knitter in the sense that if I can't pick it up really quickly, I get a bit crabby. Anywho, I cocked it up and didn't twisted right when I should have twisted left. I'd done something stupid. Hadn't realised I'd done it, so then gotten a few further rounds around, and when I'd gotten to me bit where I'd just, you know, it's like a spelling mistake you don't see. My brain had obviously mashed it over and fixed the mistake without me realising. So anywho, got to the point where that could no longer be the case. And needless to say, I was not going to frog it, because I don't like doing frogging. And I sort of had a bit of a hissy fit with it and had to walk away for a moment to make a copy and got a bit grumpsful. But then I had a little voice in my head, which in my case is the voice of Morag Mackenzie from Vintage Pearls. And if you guys don't know Morag, she's amazing. And she is kind of a bit like my, if I need a good prod to get things done, Morag's my girl. And so I had Morag's voice in my head saying, oh, for God's sake, Marie, stop your bloody whinging, put your big girl pants on, you know how to fix this and get it sorted. So I did. I made another cup of coffee, I sat down, and I got it sorted. So it took me about an hour to literally unpick back and get crochet hooks and re-twist and not the sort of thing that you do after onesies. And I even made the mistake without onesies. It's very frustrating. However, I have now persevered. I've now completed that portion. I am in the home stretch. I've only got one more leaf to finish, and then we're on to the final shaping, and then I'll be done. So as I said, hopefully I should get that done tonight. Now, the other interesting thing about this, and it's sort of kind of going to lead into the hot topic a little bit, and I'm going to talk about this, I think, in future podcasts, but it's really intriguing when you pick yarns for patterns, particularly if you're using patterns where you don't have the yarns freely available. And we don't have a huge number of patterns that have been specifically designed for skeins yarns. So we rely on yarn substitution as a business. And the one thing I will definitely say is I'm going to be giving away some of these press sleeve patterns at the end of the podcast, is if I were to knit this again, if I were to, I wouldn't use a machine washable yarn. I've used the Albertine, which is gorgeous, but I actually have found that because this is a machine washable merino and like a shrink treated merino, it's kind of lacked the structure in the body that a more rustic yarn would have. And if I were to knit this again, I would knit it either in silver lining or Southlander or vintage, which has a little bit more grip, and I think it will really aid those leaves to sort of pop. In the pattern, she's gone and said here, she's called it Tosh Merino DK, but definitely looking at the image, it's a single roving. Now, I can't tell you whether those who are Tosh lovers would be able to tell you whether that is a single roving. It's definitely single roving on the imagery she's using. And I have to say, a single roving, I can see why a single roving would work really well for that. But that's, that's the thing. I mean, it's, you don't necessarily know until you try these things out. And I think whilst I'm still going to get a really satisfying result with this, I think it would be better in something with a little bit more grip, a little bit more rustic. In fact, Chatswood, I think the Chatswood would be better in this. So, these are the things you learn as you go along and you try things out. So that would be my one advice with that. And when we send out, we do these pressed leaves packs, we will actually send you out one of those yarns that I've suggested. And in fact, I may as well announce those yarns. I haven't even told them yet. Isn't emailed them, but we ran the randomizer over. So that pressed leaf pattern, pressed leaves pattern, I've got 3 of them, and Linda Barnett, Kim Browning, and Debbie Hocking are our winners for those. So I'm going to flick you a wee note on the book of face and let you know how you can redeem those. So congratulations, and we will get those packs down to you. Also, don't disappear, because I am going to be announcing, I'm giving away some hat for who's as well from Lara Nettle. She's giving me some of those to give away. But back to rustic yarns. So what the thought about the suitability of that yarn, and it kind of got me thinking around those sorts of rustic yarns like this McEwan and McKay. And there's loads of debate out on lots of forums and things around issues like, for example, around pilling, or lots of people will talk about how soft is it, how soft is it. Soft yarns aren't the be-all and end-all. Don't get me wrong. I love a good soft yarn. I do. I really do. But these sort of more rustic style yarns are actually very much have their purpose in knitting. And I have to say, these stronger yarns are what the backbone of this company has been made on. We love them, we love processing them, we love making them, and we've done lots of things actually in our processes to actually make these yarns perform and actually shine beyond their original origins, as it were. So Southlander, probably of all our yarns, is very dear to my heart, and Southlander is one of the original yarns that we've always done, and it is a good classic Kiwi style, our version of the sort of number 8 wire, quarter acre style homespun type yarn. It's and it's made from a stronger wool. I mean, most of these stronger yarns, most of the rustic ones, Southland is 32 micron, And then like vintage, for example, vintage is hugely popular, is 30 micron. This guy here is 30, I think he's 30. They're brilliant for, I mean, I would actually wear a hat or a wrap or something in this, no problem, but then I'm not uber sensitive. But for outerwear, as I mentioned before with kids, this is where these yarns shine. If you're going to be knitting a project and you're wanting to have the wear and you're wanting it to last forever and you're wanting to have it look incredible as the day it came off the needles, don't discount these stronger yarns, because they will be the ones 15 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, that will still look amazing. The very first jumper I ever knitted for my husband, which was 15 years ago, was in actually it was almost exactly the same colour as that, the same count as this, and it was a yarn that we did for Naturally New Zealand, which they no longer have, I don't think. And it's, honestly, it was almost identical to this yarn. He doesn't fit it quite so well now, so I've inherited it, so I've got it. I wear it all the time, and seriously, it looks as good as the day it came off the needles. You know, I've probably washed it in 15 years only 5 or 6 times. It's brilliant. Utterly brilliant. So even for kids, even for yourselves, yeah, don't get too caught up on, oh, I want the softest, or this is the luscious, and this is really amazing. Those yarns, particularly for garment knots, are incredible. This yarn, if you've had oatmeal sitting in your queue, you know, the oatmeal that we did a couple of summers ago, this amazing in oatmeal. And then you've got a jumper that you can literally just, this time of year when it's a bit rotten and you need to throw something on to walk the dog, or have on with jeans, or whip out and pick the kids up from school, or whatever it is that you need to do, and you just want to throw something on and not have to worry, utterly brilliant. Yeah, oatmeal in this, it would be amazing. So don't get too hung up on our rustic yarns about in terms of the softness, and again, wear. It's going to be really good. So $3.50. I'm rabbiting today. I mentioned before, in terms of more giveaways, we'll give away the hats for who now. I'm going to again flick everybody a note, and Lara will send you out the pattern. But I've got 3 winners this week, and I'll give away the final 2 next week when we wrap things up. And they are Vanda Smith, Briar McClelland, and Anna Field, who have won the hats for who from Lara, which is I've talked this about several times. Fantastic ribbed hat, which just again would look great with this. It's designed specifically for Vanitas, but it would be equally as good in that McKay and McEwan, so I will contact you about that. Attitude has been amazing, absolutely amazing. I've got a list of stuff for next month. It's like trying to sort of plan out what we're going to do for the next few months. And I think what's worked really well is actually having a theme that has sort of specific but not specific, so we've been able to have a little bit of flexibility in there. So what I thought we would do for next month, so once you get your hats all wrapped up, you want to start planning or having a look at your patterns moving forward. Holy moly is what's going to be next month. And holy moly basically is anything around lace or holes. So whether it be something like this, as simple as that, or you're working on a wrap or shawl, or something like my Nyada, which everybody has seen 10 million times, but this is my #1 favourite. That's what it's going to be, holy moly. So I'm going to have a big dig around and see if we can, we'll pull together some prizes and stuff for that. And if you're a designer out there and you have a lacy prize that you think might be perfect, drop me a line and let me know, and we'll give those away. What else do I have on my hot little list today? No, that's about it. Oh look, holy moly. Could do that as well. Make sure you have a great week. and weekend. It's looking like the weather is going to not be our friend again, but that's okay. This provides us more knitting time. So in the meantime, finish up those Hattertube projects, get them posted over onto the Speakeasy, start planning out your holy moly projects and get those up. And if you've been one of the winners that I've announced today, I'll be dropping you a line very shortly. So take care, stay warm, stay dry, and stitch on. I'll see you soon.